Welcome back, collectors. As you all know, some characters don't simply enter a collection, they take it over. Magneto is one of those characters. Whether you see him as a villain, a revolutionary, or simply a man willing to do whatever it takes to protect his people, Eric remains one of the most compelling figures in all of comics. And today, we're looking at what may be one of the most ambitious Magneto statues ever created. This is the legendary Beast Studios Magneto in 1/3 scale. And trust me, pictures do not do it justice. Join me as we unbox, assemble, and review this magnetic piece. Now, let's get into it.
Before we even discuss the sculpt, portraits, or effects, let's talk about scale. This statue is absolutely enormous.
Surprise, motherfucker.
It dominates shelf space, commands attention, and instantly becomes a focal point in any display. What surprised me isn't simply the height, it's the visual mass. Everything about this piece feels substantial. The cape, the armor, the energy effect, even the base. It doesn't feel like a statue sitting in a collection. It feels like Magneto has arrived and claimed territory.
But I don't feel the need to advertise my powers like a desperate for attention magnetic David Blaine.
Moving into the review, let's start where every great statue begins, the base. What I appreciate here is that XM and LBS resisted the temptation to overcomplicate things. The foundation immediately communicates Magneto's power.
Oh, right. Your lame powers.
Metallic debris, distorted structures, and fragments pulled apart by immense magnetic force. It tells a story without becoming a distraction. The textures throughout the base are outstanding. They've got rough surfaces contrasting against smooth metallic elements. There's deep weathering and excellent paint variation, and enough visual interest that every angle offers something new and unique to discover. This isn't just something Magneto stands on, it's something he's actively controlling.
Look out, everyone. Magneto is attacking us with rudimentary science.
As we progress to the body and torso, this is where LBS really begins to shine. Magneto is often portrayed as powerful, but not necessarily a bodybuilder.
I don't like men no more. I said I like women.
He's a commander, a leader, a force of nature, and I think the proportions here capture that perfectly. The armor has tremendous presence, sharp lines, beautiful layering, and clean sculpt work. Fantastic panel separation. The pose itself strikes a wonderful balance between authority and motion. He isn't screaming, he isn't lunging, he isn't overreacting. He simply looks like someone fully aware that nobody in the room can stop him. Alongside that, if there's one element that elevates this statue into premium territory, it may be the cape. The sculpted movement is absolutely spectacular. It creates a sense of momentum, a sense of power, and a sense of scale. The folds feel natural, the weight feels believable, and from certain angles, the cape becomes a framing device that pulls your eyes directly back to Magneto himself. Great statues guide your attention. This cape does exactly that.
Are you allergic to vaginas, Steve?
The Premier Edition, which I have here, has numerous additional parts. Included with that are 4 separate portraits. The first portrait is classic Magneto. The expression is calm, controlled, and confident. This is Magneto who doesn't need to prove anything. The Magneto who walks into a room knowing he's already the most dangerous person there. This portrait captures wisdom, authority, and decades of experience. For collectors who prefer a timeless representation of the character, this may be the definitive display option. The second portrait introduces more intensity. The eyes sharpen, the expression hardens, and suddenly Magneto feels like he's reached a decision. This is no longer negotiation, this is action. It's subtle, but those subtle changes dramatically affect the personality of the entire statue. Portrait 3 outlines Rage Unleashed. This portrait takes things to another level. Now we're seeing Magneto unleash the anger that has defined much of his story. The mouth opens, the facial tension increases, and suddenly the statue becomes far more aggressive. This version feels like the moment before an entire battlefield gets torn apart. An excellent option for collectors who want maximum intensity. The final portrait is straight off the comic book covers and outlines the master of magnetism. This final portrait may actually be my favorite. It perfectly balances power and control. It feels intelligent, strategic, and calculated. The look of a man who has already won the battle before it begins. This is the Magneto I personally gravitate towards. The leader, the visionary, and the master strategist.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Alongside the main statue are numerous auxiliary pieces, and they are just as detailed. They offer supplemental story elaboration while facilitating superb aesthetic appeal. They fit the flow and quality of this statue stupendously. And then we arrive at what I would consider the centerpiece of this statue, the massive optional energy field. This thing is absolutely ridiculous, in the best possible way. It transforms the statue from an impressive collectible into a display event. From across the room, your eyes immediately lock onto it. The swirling energy colors, the scale, simply the visual impact. It elevates everything. If you're the type of collector who loves statement pieces, this is exactly what you're looking for. And here we have the Comic Statues Unleashed 360-degree and assembly video. Few characters in comic history exist in shades of gray quite like Magneto. To some, he's a villain. To others, a revolutionary or a survivor or a protector. He's a man who witnessed humanity at its absolute worst and vowed that his people would never suffer the same fate again. What makes Magneto fascinating isn't simply his power, it's his conviction. He believes he is right, completely and unapologetically. And throughout decades of storytelling, readers have often found themselves agreeing with him. LBS and XM seem to understand that, and it is not merely a powerful mutant. This is a leader, a king without a throne, and a general who carries the weight of an entire people. The flowing cape, the commanding stance, the calm confidence. Every design decision feels intentional. Nothing appears exaggerated or feels accidental. Instead, the statue captures something far more difficult: presence. One of the things these studios consistently do well is understanding the emotional core of a character. Many companies produce statues, few create experiences. You know, some statues look good up close, while others look good from across the room. The truly exceptional pieces do both, and this Magneto belongs in that category. Whether displayed alone or among an X-Men collection, it immediately becomes a centerpiece. It has presence and size, and it has scale. And perhaps most importantly, it has character.
Saccharito. If I remember correctly, it's where one guy chugs margaritas while I blow him. And then...
So you ask, where does this piece land for me? The sculpt is exceptional, the paintwork is strong, the portraits offer meaningful variety, and the energy effects are spectacular. The overall presentation feels worthy of one of Marvel's greatest characters. This isn't just another Magneto statue, it's a celebration of everything that makes Magneto iconic. If you're a fan of the Master of Magnetism, this piece deserves serious consideration. As a collector's reflection, we often surround ourselves with heroes, but sometimes the pieces that stay with us the longest are the ones that challenge us. The anti-heroes, the fallen heroes, the characters who force us to consider difficult choices. Magneto has always been one of those characters, and this statue captures that complexity beautifully.
And there you have it, the Legendary Beast Studios Magneto 1/3 scale. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Do you think this is the ultimate Magneto? Which portrait would you display? And where does this rank among your favorite X-Men collectibles? If you enjoyed today's review, don't forget to like, subscribe, and as always, keep your passion for collecting alive and your love for superheroes soaring.